Rob, get down! Hello and good morning and welcome to the Retro Junkies Super Show. As always, I'm one of the co-hosts, Landon, and with me today, as always, my partner in retro gaming crime, the Turner to my hooch, that is gone to my Peter messed that up. Peter Spangler. Dang it. Redo that.
Well, that was good though. I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Sure does. He's got a sweet collection of fungi there. How you doing, Rob?
I'm pretty good, man. You doing okay?
I'm okay. Just hanging around in this nice house here with the air on.
Yeah, but listen, man, we got a lot of shout-outs today. When it's so spread out like this, I guess we're always going to have a lot of shout-outs.
Oh, yeah.
But you want to do the first one, my good man?
Sure. The first shout-out is going to go to our new friends, Nick and Ryan, from the NES podcast. They've been really working hard on their first show, and you can tell it's a really good show. I listened to it coming back from the doctor the other day. Their intro song, it's a podcast about the 90s, and their intro song had everything from Nirvana, has Urkel in there, Power Rangers, and The Rock. I mean, you can't go wrong with Power Rangers and The Rock.
I know, in the same intro.
I know, it kind of blew my mind. I'm like the ultimate tag team right there. The bad guys in Power Rangers, Zed and Rita, couldn't even stand a chance against those guys.
Yeah, I could see The Rock actually putting the rock bottom on Rita Repulsa.
I could see him doing it on Goldo. Sorry, Rita.
But, man. Oh, you know what? You should refer to me as the Rob from now on. Can you smell what the Rob is cooking?
Smells like cabbage.
It smells like Teen Spirit.
On a serious note, though, if you haven't listened to them, they just were put on the iTunes here. I sounded old. I call it the iTunes. But they were put on iTunes here earlier this week, I believe. And they discussed everything from the 1990s in kind of a year-by-year format. This past week, they were discussing Tecmo Bowl, Terminator 2 on their Facebook page. The podcast actually was about the 90s, and it was about the Ninja Turtles movie. Their game was Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh, I think they even talked about the World Series, too.
They do. They talk about the World Series, the 1990 World Series, and I got an education about the Cincinnati Reds, because I really don't know much about the Reds. But
me neither.
It was a cool podcast. I know they said they were going to try to do like a video game, a movie, and a sporting event from each year. So.
Yeah, we really like what they're doing right now. And if you want to ever check out their Facebook page, it's facebook.com/NES podcast. Like, seriously, I know you probably noticed this too, Landon. Like, those two are the nicest guys, man.
They really are. They're really, really polite and really nice. And
yeah. They're just laid back guys, normal guys, and just give them some support. Check out their Facebook page and download them on iTunes. Another huge thank you goes out to our friends at AtariAge.com. I've gotten to know RJ, S1500, and Ferg really well this week. I actually got to talk to them a little bit this week. And they're actually really, really good guys who know their games and know their retro gaming podcasts. I talked to Ferg a little bit this week, and he's been incredibly kind and helpful. And he's started his own podcast called the 2600 Game by Game Podcast on iTunes. And each week, Ferg discusses the history and gameplay of 2 or 3 Atari 2600 games. And honestly, I have learned so much just listening to his podcast. So it's very fun, it's very informative, and you should check him out at Facebook at facebook.com/2600 Game by Game Podcast. Another guy I talked to is S1500, who's been, again, just incredibly nice and helpful. He's got his own podcast called Classic Console Gamer News, and it's on iTunes and Podomatic.com. And it's kind of funny because he openly admits, I think it's even in the info either on Podomatic or iTunes, or I saw it somewhere, but his goal is to have the absolute worst classic gaming podcast ever made. And Ferg pretty much said, he's like, he said on his show, he's like, I think he failed miserably, and yeah, I agree with you, Ferg. It's definitely not a bad show. It's actually very entertaining. In episode 7, S1500, he discussed pinball, the Midwest Gaming Classic, retro computers. He talked about some retro gaming podcasts he liked, and he even mentioned us. I was surprised. So we really appreciate it, man. And he also had a song at the very end that has been stuck in my head, man. It's called "So You Love Computers," or no, so you, I think, learn from computers or something like that. And I actually put on the forum, they sound like, if the Cars and David Bowie had a baby, a nerdy baby, that would be this band, man. They were awesome. I don't know who sang that. He said it on the show, but I can't remember what he said. But yeah, I found myself whistling this a few times this morning, when I was planning for this podcast. So excellent podcast there. Check him out. And the last guy I talked to from Atari H is RJ, and he's a retro gaming podcast aficionado who's been incredibly kind and helpful, as well as Ferg and S1500. And I've read a lot of his reviews and his comments on certain podcasts, and he's tuned me into a lot of retro gaming podcasts that I'd never heard of before. And he was actually the first one to plug our show on Atari Age. So we really appreciate the kind words, and I promise to keep on laughing, RJ.
Good old Rob.
Oh yeah, I try.
Giggles McLaffy.
Yeah.
Also, I like your other name that people give you when you laugh too much, the hyena. It just makes you sound like this mercenary. It's like, oh no, we've got a town and it's been overrun by bandits. Quick, call the hyena. He'll take care of it.
I'll be right there.
It's like, hey guys, I gotta jump my van off first. The battery died.
A guy I work with, I don't know if I want to say his name on the podcast, but you know who he is. He's the guy.
I know who he is.
Yeah, there's a guy I work with that coined that name for me. So you know what? I like that. Maybe I could be a mercenary.
It would do good. It's kind of like the whole Solid Snake thing. You kind of just have this image of what he looks like. Dude, this is the hyena. I'm just picturing this guy with a headband and a mullet and like a combat knife strapped on his chest.
That's right. Like somebody comes around the corner and I crack his neck real quick.
Yeah. Like, huh?
So, anyways, great folks over at AtariAge.com. So check out their website and post on their forums if you love classic games. These guys were awesome.
Another huge shout out we're going to give. If you're ever in the Western North Carolina area, for those of you who aren't really familiar with North Carolina, we kind of consider Western North Carolina the area from Charlotte west, and the really western part is from Asheville west. But anyway, if you're ever in Western North Carolina, check out the Retro Gamer and Home Computer Services at 87 Main Street in Canton, North Carolina. Woohoo, go Canton! That's where I live at.
You lucky dog. Well, the store is like, what, a couple miles from you? It's so not fair.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can just drive, down the street, make 2 turns, and I'm there.
Yeah.
In front of the store. But the 2 guys who work there, Rob and Jeremy, have been really super nice and super kind to Rob and I. Mm-hmm. And they know their stuff on retro games. I think we went in what, last weekend, and we talked to them for like hour and a half maybe, just...
Yeah. Jeremy was really nice. Like, as a matter of fact, when we had pulled up, Jeremy was walking out. I guess he was closing the store, and he opened it up just for us to walk in there. And so, I thought that was really classy.
Oh yeah, that was a sweet move, and they made some good sales that day too. I got the Revenge of Shinobi and Soul Reaver: The Legacy of Kain.
Ooh, nice man, nice.
On the Dreamcast, yeah, I was pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, sweet. I got a couple of gems too, and I'll talk about them later on in the show.
You did get some good gems. I remember we sat there and played them for what, an hour and a half?
At least, man, at least over some pizza.
And it didn't have any marshmallows or jelly or
anchovies. That's right.
But yeah, they're really knowledgeable about games and computers. So if you're ever in the area, stop by the store. I'm sure they'd love to have you come by. And they also have a Facebook page. Their Facebook page is facebook.com/home-computer-services. So again, that's facebook.com/home-computer-services. And again, it's just, they've opened up here, I think it was about a month ago. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing them putting the sign up for the little Retro Gamer, and I came in and I'm like, oh wow, this is really cool. One of the really cool things about this store is not only does he have does Rob and Jeremy have games and controllers and parts, but they also have a lot of classic systems. And on each little system, he'll have a little note card, saying what the system is, when it was released, and how much the price of that system was back when it was first released. And he also has the ones that are working that he's not working on hooked up to TVs, so you can kind of just see what they looked like and what they sounded like. That's really cool.
Anyways, check out our Nerd Network at facebook.com/nerdstalkradio, all one word. Basically, the text version of what we do here on our Facebook page. John was on episode 154 of the Retro League, and he's put a video up on Nerd Talk Radio, so check it out. We're huge fans of the Retro League, and it's kind of cool to see one of our buddies on the show, so go check that out. Again, that's facebook.com/nerdstalkradio.
Also on Facebook, part of the Nerd Network, check out facebook.com/nerd-noise-radio. Game tracks, game track comparisons. This week, John posted a lot of tracks from Phantasy Star, Super C, Streets of Rage 3, Bomberman, Final Fight, and Virtua Fighter. So check those out. I really like the Super C ones.
Well, you can't go wrong with Konami, man. Ever.
No, ever.
Yeah, so check those out. And also, right before we start the actual show, I do want to correct a mistake I made on the last podcast. I was talking about the Sega Pluto prototype, but I accidentally called it the Sega Neptune, which was actually just a 32X code name. So the Sega Pluto, on the other hand, only had 2 prototypes. And as a matter of fact, I just found this out today. One of the prototypes recently sold for $15,000 on eBay. So,
whoa,
who's got that kind of money? Sure,
dude, that's walking money for you. You're just like, oh, Sega Pluto. Here you go, $1,500, my good man. Back it up.
Yeah. So, anyways, I guess that's it for the top of the show news. All right, Landon. So, what retro games have you been playing, my man?
Oh, let's see. Been on a real Genesis kick here lately.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I just rediscovered that I actually really, really, really love the Genesis. So I've been playing Rocket Knight Adventures and Ghouls and Ghosts for Genesis.
Oh, classics.
Dude, Rocket Knight's awesome. That's like one of my new favorite action adventure games.
Never played it as a kid, and actually when I was at your house Saturday, I got to thinking, I mean, when I was watching you, I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome!" The music was good, the action was good. It was hard, but the action was good. And I remember as a kid, I'd always seen commercials for it, and I was like, "Man, I want this game so bad," but I never got it. So 20 years later, here I am, envious of you.
You should go out and try to get it.
Yeah. You got it in the box, don't you?
I've got it in the box with the instruction manual.
Dang, nice, man.
But it's a pretty good action platformer. I've only made it to level 2, but I can already tell that it's going to be one of those that once I get a little bit of free time, I'm just going to be in front of constantly. Also, Ghouls and Ghosts. Oh my goodness, the Genesis version is just as punishing as the other versions when it comes to difficulty.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, I was. When did I get that? That came in the mail for me Monday. And Monday evening, I'm like, well, I'll fire it up and see if it works and everything. And it does. And even on practice mode, I only made it to level 5. And I played for nearly 3 hours Monday evening.
Oh, my gosh.
It's not the controls. The controls are good. It's just one of those where the enemies are just so relentless. And
right.
They just come in droves, and you can't get a break. The level I made it to actually was level 5, where you're working your way up to fight the final boss. It's just like a marathon boss fight. First guy you encounter is the boss from Ghosts and Goblins, and you're like, oh, okay, just hit him in the head and he'll die. And you hit him in the head and he dies. You climb a ladder, and then you fight 2 of the big ogre guys from the first level, but they're together, so you got to take them out. Run through a corridor. And then you have to fight 2 of the guys you fought before, the 2-headed. I don't know what his name was. I know he was the first boss in Ghost and Goblins, is all I know, or the final boss in Ghost and Goblins.
Was he the one who stole the? What? I'm sorry, man. Was he the one who stole the girlfriend?
No. He's the guy. If you've ever watched like I know the Angry Nintendo Nerd made it to him once, or Angry Video Game Nerd made it to him once. It kind of does like a street fight because you can go forward and backward, but you're facing him the whole time you're fighting him.
Oh, okay.
But you fight two of those guys at once, and then like the boss from level 3 of the game, there's 4 of those guys chasing you up a ladder, and that's as far as I made it.
Oh, nice, nice. So is this like just a Genesis port of the Ghouls and Ghosts that was on SNES?
It kind of is. There's a few differences. Like, the second level's a lot different. Like, you know how in the SNES port it's kind of a water level?
Mm-hmm.
This one, there's a lot of quicksand, and there's not any water in it, really.
Huh. I wonder if that had something to do with maybe the graphics or something. I don't know. Maybe
It may have.
Yeah, that's... Huh.
And I'm trying to think what else is different about it. I know the little... There's not zombies in the first level. You know how there's like zombies kind of walking around in the first level of the SNES version?
Mm-hmm.
They're little Grim Reapers with scythes running around in this one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, they gang up on you, though. But overall, I mean, it's a good game. If you can find it somewhere, you know, it's definitely worth about $10 or $12 because that's what I gave for it.
To be honest, when you said you got Ghouls and Ghosts for the Genesis, I was like, what? I didn't even know they made one for the Genesis.
Yeah, it was made like in '89, I found out. So it's older than the SNES version.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's cool. Like when the first boss like rips his head off and like puts it on his hand and starts chasing you.
That's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah. Well, what about you there, Sir Robert? What good games have you been playing here lately?
Well, just one, and it's the game actually I got at the Retro Gamer, Road Rash 3. Love this game, man. Love it. It's one of those games I'm so surprised I've never played it. You know, I've been playing this game like crazy this week, and I forgot how fun the Road Rash games were. Much like the Streets of Rage series, I've always had like the first 2 games, but I didn't actually buy the third and final game of the series until many years later. The first Road Rash game was released in '91, and the second one was just released a year later, but for some reason, Road Rash 3, and it's called Road Rash 3 Tour de Force, wasn't released till 1995.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, which makes me wonder why it came so late.
I was going to say, that was kind of toward the end of the Genesis, too. That was when they were kind of hyping the 32X and then eventually the Saturn, right?
Yeah. That's very late in the Genesis life cycle, and you know, I wonder if the game was maybe redeveloped several times, or if the developers weren't planning on making a third one, or even if they maybe even intentionally postponed developing Road Rash 3 to kind of boost sales, you know, when the Sega Genesis market was starting to decline a little bit, you know, towards the end of the lifespan. Yeah, because you think in 1995, like you said, the Saturn was coming out, the PlayStation was about to come out. Perhaps this was the one little ace in the hole that Genesis still had.
I don't know. I was gonna say it was a cool game though.
Oh.
From what I saw, from what I watched you play, it had some really good music in it.
Yeah, I know that's probably one of the biggest strong suits of the game is the music. And it's kind of cool because I think in the first one they were just in the U.S. I think Road Rash 1 they were just touring in the U.S. Well, this one's all around the world, and all the races take there's countries like Brazil, the U.K., Germany, Italy, Kenya, Australia, Japan.
Dude, that Kenya level was crazy. You did really good in that level. I think you got first. That was one of the ones you got first place in.
Well, I try. Well, you're my good luck charm.
You had one of those rat bikes, as they call it in the game. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the bikes, there's 15 bikes that are available in different classes, and you can get 4 upgrades per bike. And the one nice thing, there's a lot of new features in this game that I noticed that weren't in Road Rash 2. You can actually keep your weapons, you know, in between each race. You can hold on to them. It's not like, you know, when you go to Kenya or something like that after you've raced in Italy, you've lost your chain that you stole from Viper or something.
Man, that Viper.
Yeah, I know. He's a jerk.
He is.
Another nice thing is that the bikes can be improved by choosing cheaper upgrades instead of simply buying new ones, like tires with less skidding. You can get engine improvements, suspension improvements, body improvements, like the bike tires, or the bike takes more hits. Another thing I really liked about this game is that it's really cool. Like, you know how in the first and second one, when you would get in trouble or when the police would come, it would just be on a motorcycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, on this, they can have a helicopter chase you down and try to land on you. Yeah. Yeah, you got that. You got patrol cars, and and the motorcycle guys. So you've got all these different people trying to get you. Those are little things. It makes you wonder why this game isn't more popular in the series. Like, everyone thinks Road Rash 2 is the crowning jewel in the Road Rash series, and I guess I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's a great game, but is it the best? It's hard to say. There's only one little gripe that I have, and it's really more of like a personal preference. This game used digitized sprites as opposed to the kind of cartoony sprites of the first two games. And I guess the developers, they wanted to strive to have more of a realistic approach since, this is a very late release for the Sega Genesis. But, I don't know, in hindsight, it seems like the first two games just look more crisp and colorful than Road Rash 3. That's the only gripe I have. And of course it's a minor flaw, and some might even prefer the digitized sprites, but I don't know. The graphics, they kind of remind me of the graphics for Road Rash for the PlayStation 1, and I'm not talking about the Road Rash 3D one. Just there was a sprite-based Road Rash for PlayStation 1 that, you remember it had that Soundgarden soundtrack?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. And the cutscenes are really, really dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, man, good stuff. I play that all the time. Anyways, I guess the best part for me is Road Rash 3's music. According to Wikipedia, I did a little search on it because I want to know who was the composer. And Don Vecca, or Veka, I guess, was the composer of Road Rash 3. And I love the hard rock vibe of the entire track. I may have to post a few tracks on Nerd Noise Radio or something soon.
You should. I was going to say that soundtrack to that game is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think out of all three of the Genesis games, the third one is actually my favorite. The soundtrack, because it's got a lot more of that guitar sampling vibe to it. So, anyways, this is a really underrated game that is often overshadowed by the first two Road Rash games. And like I said, perhaps it was the late release that had a lot to do with that. But I don't know. The formula still seemed fresh to me. I don't know. A great game, very underrated game. That's Road Rash 3 Tour de Force. And I guess that's it for the retro games we've been playing, my man. It's time for Retro News. So, Landon, you find any retro news for us today, man?
Oh, I did. Saw this on RetroCollect.com under their news section. The title of the article is, "It's Official, Castle of Illusion high-def announcement trailer confirmed summer release for the Xbox, the PlayStation Network, and PC." I know a lot of, since we're talking about Sega a lot today, it was probably one of the early titles for Genesis, like 88, 89, maybe even 90. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse.
Oh yeah, good game.
Yeah, apparently... I can't remember. I don't think it was Capcom that did that one. I think Sega actually did that one kind of in-house with Disney licensing. They've announced that they're doing a high-def remake of that game and going to release it, this summer along with the DuckTales remake.
Wow, nice. And both games really have a huge following.
Oh yeah, Castle of Illusion was good. I remember I played it for about 10 minutes when I was younger. And I just remember thinking, wow, Mickey looks like Mickey in the cartoons almost. Like, he's just not like two little dots and a little white face like he was in the NES Mousecapades game.
Now, there was a Super Nintendo game, too, a Mickey Mouse game, right?
Yeah, it was the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, I remember my buddy Jason had that, and I remember playing that one a lot.
Castle of Illusion plays a lot like that one. I don't think there's like the suits that you can go into, like, Mickey could do the fireman suit or the mountain climber suit and climb up stuff, but Castle of Illusion's still a strong game.
Oh, sweet.
It's hard though. I had a really hard time, and I still do when I try to play it now. Of some of the platforming levels they're really difficult, but it's one of those where it's like, okay, I know what I did wrong. I've got to jump now instead of waiting like a half second later to do the jump. So it's hard, but it's hard in a good way.
What was the plot of that game? I can't even really remember that one.
Something like, I can't remember if it was Minnie or Pluto or what, had been stolen by he's the Disney character Pete, I believe. The kind of dog with like the scruffy face or whatever.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of big. I think he takes either Minnie or Pluto, and he runs into the Castle of Illusion, and Mickey chases after him, and that's where the game starts.
Oh, I got you. Nice. Well, sweet, man. Well, I found me a pretty good one. It's a new high score on Donkey Kong Jr., and I got this article on RetroGameNetwork.com. And I guess just before I even talk about the Donkey Kong Jr. thing, it's like I guess I never used to care about high scores in video games until I watched what was that documentary? The King of Kong.
Yeah.
In 2008. And and just seeing that's when I saw how much time and energy these guys put into these games, and how much practice and natural skill is required to earn a legitimate world record in arcade games. After seeing Steve Wiebe's trying time and time again to beat Billy Mitchell's Donkey Kong record, I found myself really pulling for him. And my wife, who's not even a gamer, got really attached to the story of a guy's quest to be the world's best Donkey Kong player. So I don't know, seeing Steve Wiebe practice day and night and play in front of sometimes really, really malicious competitors. You remember the people that were huddled around him trying to play head games with him and stuff?
Yeah, he just kind of tunes them out. And
keeps
going.
Yeah, he's got this focus that is unparalleled. So watching that, and watching even how some of his high scores were rejected by Twin Galaxies at first for speculation of faulty arcade boards. I don't know, just watching him keep on practicing and finally beat Billy Mitchell's record, which was something so awesome to see. That's when I had a new view for gamers who set high scores, I remember hearing a radio station kind of scoff at the idea of gamers kind of being like athletes, but I'd argue that they are in some ways,
Oh yeah, I mean, you've got to have the intelligence and the coordination and the finger speed to actually, if you're going for a competitive high score, to be able to get it.
Yeah, I mean, you think of all the physical and mental training and discipline that goes into a world record. I mean, I know some of these guys will stand at a machine or sit at a machine for 2-3 days at a time.
Just go on. Going.
And not to mention, people are watching your every move. And I don't know about you, but I get a little. It's it's adrenaline rushing, and it's fun, but it's also a little nerve wracking because you want to perform well in front of others.
Yeah.
So you got that factor too. Really have a lot of respect for these kinds of gamers that go for those records. Well, anyways, Mike Casper is officially the man. He's from Beaverton, Oregon, and he's recently obtained the all-time high score for Donkey Kong Jr. This just happened this month, I think. He was able to beat the previous all-time score. It was a few weeks ago by a total of 20,900 points, with his current top score of 1,349,000 points. Before his achievement, the previous record was set by a man named Mark Kyle back in the July of 2010 with his score of 1,328,100. He started his game on April 20th at Kencade in Portland, Oregon, and after 3.5 hours of playing the game, he achieved a new record. The entire game was broadcast online via Twitch TV, and I wish I could have watched this. That'd have been cool to see him actually break that score. Yeah, I mean, I probably want to start at the very beginning.
Yeah, you kind of hit the highlights.
Right. You just watch that very last part where he actually beats the score and everyone goes crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyways, this is the interesting part. It says Casper was interviewed by Patrick Scott Patterson over the weekend, who made it clear that while he used to play arcade games as a kid, he hadn't played them hardly at all since he was 14 years old. And he wasn't a huge Donkey Kong Jr. player even when he was younger. So he wasn't playing arcade games all his life. As a matter of fact, by the time he was 14, he had kind of gotten out of arcade games, it seems like. And so he just, reintroduced himself to arcade games maybe about a year or two ago. And it says, and this is what he said, "I got a little better and I thought I could break this." He's talking about the score. "I started analyzing every board and the maximum points and realized the world record really wasn't that high considering how many points I really think there are available." He just basically looks at the scores and goes, "You know what, I think I could beat that." And sure enough, he did in 3 hours' time. So, what I like is actually how he responds afterwards. The interviewer kind of asked him if he thinks his score will ever be broken. And he pretty much just says, "Yep." he says, "I missed a lot of points along the way, so I know that a higher score is completely doable. A score of 1.4 million is within reach, with a perfect game being 1.5 million." So he openly admits that although that is the new record, he missed out on a lot of points that he knows other people can get. Maybe they ought to do a documentary on this, man. That'd be good.
That'd be cool. I'd watch it.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess that's it for the retro news, my man. All right, now it's time to see what's randomly retro. So, Landon, did you find anything randomly retro, my man?
I did. On Retro Gaming Network, they have an article about a new NES adapter. What it allows you to do is play the Japanese Famicom games in an NES.
Sweet.
It was in some of the games back when the Nintendo first came out, and it's got a list of them: 1942, Duck Hunt, Donkey Kong Jr., Excite Bike, Gyromite, Hogan's Alley, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. They had these little converters in them because the American Nintendo couldn't keep up with the demand of the games. Mm-hmm. So they would just order the Japanese counterparts, change some of the language around in the programming and then put to English, and then put it in an adapter and put it in a regular NES cartridge and sell it. So if you've got some of the games that were mentioned above, you can take those apart with the screwdriver, and if there's a little chipboard inserted into an adapter, you can pull that chipboard out of that adapter and put any Japanese Famicom game in it and play it in your NES.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But the article's about a company, a guy by the name of Kirk Z, has started manufacturing these adapters and is selling them online at his website. The cost of the adapter is $25, but it lets you play, all the Japanese releases that we didn't get in America.
Yeah, $25 to play all those games. I mean, that seems well worth it to me. It's I guess except for the language barrier.
You can just go on Google and translate it.
Yeah, exactly. Just see what the story's about. Like, oh, okay, I got to fight this guy here.
Why am I fighting this guy? Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now I get it. I'm supposed to hate this guy. What a jerk.
Yeah. But there were a lot of really cool games that were released over in Japan. I know the Japanese version of Castlevania 3 is, oh my gosh, it is years better than the one we got here.
Wow.
Because
really?
the music's different. It has another chip to help process on the FM frequency, so it has more depth. The sound does.
Wow, I'd love to hear that, man. That sounds awesome.
It's a pretty cool.
What website did you say you could get this on?
The article's on RetroGameNetwork.com, and the order link is shop.retrogate.com/Famicom-2-NES-adapter, and it's got the link actually in the article because there's some HTML code after that.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
kind of doesn't really make any sense.
Right. But you were going to read the whole thing.
I wasn't going to read the whole thing.
No, take off. You will.
No, I won't either. I'm not a computer. I don't know what that means.
Well, sweet. That sounds awesome. I'm really interested in that. That sounds great.
You should buy one or see if you've got some in your old games.
Well, I found a really interesting one. But before I actually talk about it, I just want to kind of set it up. Okay, Lane, you'll probably remember this. I openly admit that I was at your place about 6 or 7 years ago when you had gotten your Nintendo Wii, and I was absolutely blown away by the concept of being able to download classic games. I mean, legally.
yeah, not illegally.
And I remember you showing me the Wii store and being completely shocked that we could actually buy these old games and have them, without having to go to a store. So, then I got to thinking, well, you know what? The Wii is definitely not the first console to feature, games that are available for download. And I was thinking the first one was known as the Sega Channel. You remember that?
I remember us talking about that. I never actually saw the Sega Channel, but I remember us talking about it.
Yeah. My neighbor had one, and this was basically an adapter that hooked into a cable box and a Genesis to download Sega games to play each month. It was a great concept. It was short-lived, but it was an awesome concept. And for basically $15 a month, you could get, I think, 30 games a month, 30 games you could try. And it lasted, I think, for about 4 years, from 1994 to, I think, 1998. And I sincerely thought this was the first, or one of the first consoles to ever try this. And I was about 13 years off. Apparently... Now, this is before I was born, so I had no idea. Apparently, the Mattel Intellivision had a program called PlayCable, and they tried this way back in 1981. And it's such an innovative way to offer such a huge library of Intellivision games for a flat rate of $15 a month. PlayCable was an online service that was introduced in 1981, but they'd been deep into development with this, stemming all the way back to the late 70s. Wow. It just blows my mind that they had this concept way back then. Through the service, subscribers could use a special device called the PlayCable adapter to download the games for play on their Intellivision. Mattel pretty much worked with General Instruments to create this thing in the late 70s and finally launched it. I don't know if it was worldwide, but definitely countrywide. I think it was up to 20 titles, 20 Intellivision titles you could download every month at a flat rate of $15 a month. And they even had commercials for it, which I didn't know about. And the commercials are great. You know, Mickey Mantle, the baseball player?
Yeah.
He's like the spokesperson for these commercials.
Sweet!
I saw him on YouTube. And, of course, you know, they definitely have like a retro feel to them. Yeah, it's early 80s commercials, and they're really, really funny. But, it's just such a cool concept. And Mattel projected that this service would have about 1 million subscribers within 5 years. But the sad thing is, by 1983, PlayCable only had a small fraction of that amount. Fewer than 3% of the 650,000 households that were actually capable of receiving the service had subscribed. Only 3% of that number.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And meanwhile, cable operators complained about the high cost of the computers needed to run the service and the expensive PlayCable adapters. So not many people had them. And then, of course, came the video game crash in 1983. So with all these factors combined, the limitations of the PlayCable adapter, with all these outside factors, pretty much PlayCable shut down in 1983. But like I said, those commercials are definitely retro, you know?
No, yeah, I'm going to have to go look at those now.
Oh, they're hilarious. They're great. Maybe I'll try to find a way to put like a soundbite on our show or something, but they're excellent.
For about $25, you can give your family one video game cartridge. Fun, huh, guys? Or for less than half that, you can give them PlayCable. $500 worth of Intellivision games a month on cable. 20 games to pick from, 24 hours a day. No schedules to follow, no cartridges to buy. PlayCable. It's the only way to play without paying too much.
I struck you out!
The fun can't start for your family till you call your cable company, so do it now.
Yeah, so it's just neat to find out that the origin of game downloading is nowhere near a new concept. You know, and if anyone's listening that might have actually had the PlayCable service, please send us an email. I'd love to learn all about it and what it was like to have it. So, that's the Retro Junkies at theretrojunkies.com. And boy, I'll tell you what, 1981, I hate I missed out on this one, man. Well, I guess that's it for what's randomly retro. Alright, now it's time for character trivia. And actually, this week, we are doing a monster theme since our episode is about Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So, Landon, I guess I'll ask you questions first. Are you ready, my son?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Alright, hint number 1. This character has been in dozens of classic games, but incarnation of this character I'm talking about comes from a challenging NES game that was released in 1988.
Okay.
This character is often seen in broad daylight. He doesn't even care. While this character was certainly scary, he definitely wasn't the biggest threat in the game. Any ideas?
No.
Okay. This character is gray and often carries his weapon of choice with him wherever he goes. And like I said, this character is in lots of different NES games, and I mean probably a lot of other newer generations of systems. He's in games. The one I'm talking about in this game, he's out in broad daylight, he carries a weapon with him, and he's draped in gray.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, the last clue is gonna give it away.
I doubt it. I'm seriously, I'm having a hard time thinking.
Okay, I'll give you one more clue. I just thought of one. Well, no, that's too easy. I can't do that one. Okay, here we go. Last clue that will give it away. This character lives on the same street as Street Dancing Dave.
Is it Death?
Yeah, very good, very good. That's it.
Oh my gosh, that was a reach, dude. That was a good one.
I'm sorry. I know that first clue was a little bit confusing, but yeah, you got it. Man, you lucky dog.
That was a good one.
You're like 6 for 7 now.
That was a good one, man. I liked that.
Well, yeah. Well, I thought the Street Dancing Dave would definitely give it away.
It did, but I was like thinking of two different things that could be in that game too.
What were you thinking?
The little like lawn gnomes that chase after you.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the only thing that it wouldn't have been that one is because I think the lawn gnomes were red or white and red.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, and this character was gray. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because you would think death would be the hardest one to avoid, you know, because we certainly can't avoid it in our life.
No. No.
Yeah, but yeah, you can just kind of sidestep him, and he just goes, "Well, I'll get you next time."
I'll be back for you in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, be gentle on this one.
I think you'll get this one.
I hope so.
You will. This character was a boss fight in this one game only. This one game.
Okay.
He came out in the game, you know, in September of 1990, and he was in the third of this game.
Okay.
His boss fight, when you fight him, he's at least half as tall as you are and walks very fastly, chasing after you. His weapon of choice is a hammer.
A hammer. Okay.
This will probably give it away. If he had to get glasses, they would have to be special glasses. They would have to be custom made.
Oh, dang. And he's a monster.
He's a monster, and you fight him more than once in this game.
Oh, gosh, and he's the third one of the series.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I wanted to say, because when you said he's half of your size, I was thinking maybe, because don't you fight Grant Dynasty in Castlevania 3?
You do, but let me rephrase that. He's your height plus another half of you tall. He's a big guy.
Oh, gosh. Oh, it's not... Okay, it's not a Castlevania game, is it?
No, it is. It's Castlevania.
Oh, it is? Is it Dracula's Curse? Is it Alucard?
No.
Oh, dang it! Oh gosh, who are the bosses in that? I remember the dragon guy. It's not him.
And you fight him more than once in the game too.
Gosh, who is that? I am drawing a blank. I forget all the bosses in that game besides Dracula. Frankenstein's not in that game, is he?
I don't know if I can't remember if Frankenstein's in that one or not, but it's not Frankenstein.
Oh goodness.
But him and Frankenstein would be a pretty cool battle.
Okay, and he's got to wear glasses, or if he did, they'd have to be specialized.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean he can't see? Unless he has one eye. Was he a Cyclops?
It was Cyclops, yeah.
Oh yeah! Finally, I got one. Sweet, I forgot all about him. What stages had you fight him?
Oh, it's the one where you get the magic user for your companion.
Oh, Sypha or Sifa?
Yeah. Like, you fight him, and then she busts out of the statue. Somehow he had turned her into a statue.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That makes sense now. Oh, sweet. Good one, man. I forgot all about him.
Yeah, a lot of people don't remember him, but I remember I had the hardest time beating him as a kid.
Yeah, you know what I really like about the Castlevania games is not only is it a mixture of or classic monster movies like Frankenstein, The Mummy, Wolfman. You also see some Greek mythology characters or figures in the series, like the Medusa heads and
I think the Cyclops was Greek mythology.
Yeah, that's right, because he fights Odysseus. That's right.
Yep.
Oh, nice, man. Well, hey, it must be a good day. We both got it right.
That's right. We know our monsters.
Yeah, we know our monsters. All right, well, I guess speaking of monsters, that takes us into Zombies Ate My Neighbors, an absolute classic game that we are really excited to talk about. Now, Landon, I know you were definitely better at this game than I was.
Not much.
Oh, no, way better, way better. You're definitely better at this than I am, so I'll just kind of give a background, and Landon's going to talk about the gameplay. So, just to give you a quick background, you know, it's kind of funny. I never thought I'd mention the Sega Channel twice in one day, but here I go. Yeah. My first experience playing Zombies Ate My Neighbors was actually at my neighbor's house in Gloucester City, New Jersey. To add to the atmosphere, it really was storming pretty hard that day. So my friend Chris and we couldn't go out that day. So we ended up sitting in his basement and watching old WCW videos. By the way,
that's sweet.
Oh, yeah. By the way, he had the creepiest basement. I mean, there's just something about that basement that always freaked me out. But anyways, so I got kind of tired of watching the WCW videos after a little while, and I was like, hey, can we play some video games? So he got out his Genesis, and all he had were sports games. So I was like, oh, do you have anything else? And he goes, oh, well, I have Sega Channel. I was like, oh, you do? Because I didn't even know I said I didn't even know what that was. I thought it was a TV station or something. So he hooks everything up and stuff, and he gets online with the Sega Channel, or gets on cable with the Sega Channel. He goes through the selection, and I don't remember exactly what it looked like, but for some reason I wanted to say that the menu screen was purple. And I don't remember if it had any music or anything, but I do remember something about Sega Channel being purple. I don't remember what it was, though. It's very, very hazy. Anyways, we finally, we're going through all the categories and stuff, and I see a title that begins with zombies. And I was like, oh, let's do that one. He's like, oh, man, are you sure? I want to play a sports game. But I talked him into playing the zombies one. Because I was huge. I loved monsters. As a kid, I was all about monsters. And even to this day, I'm a sucker for some good monsters. I'm a sucker for anything scary, really. And that kind of reminds me, when I was a kid back in New Jersey, I remember my buddy and Jason and I, we literally wanted to find, have you ever heard of the New Jersey Devil?
I have.
Yeah, we wanted to find him. Like, Jason had a little tree house, and we'd be up there with our maps and everything, and we'd be like, okay, we're going to cover this area and this area tonight, and we're going to find this Jersey Devil. I digress, but that was good times. So, going back to Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I immediately fell in love with the game. Just the whole concept of two kids being able to kill zombies, chainsaw dudes, mummies, and giant babies with a squirt gun, that was a really awesome concept to me.
Yeah, it's still a pretty cool concept.
Yeah. And Chris, it wasn't his type of game. He quickly got bored with it, but I kept begging him to just keep on playing, and I think we got like 8 or 9 levels in, from what I remember. And I specifically, you remember the mall stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the wandering babies and the escalators and stuff. And every time, now that I play the game nowadays, I always think of the times in Mallrats where that guy's like, that kid's by the elevator again! Or escalator again! Oh my gosh. Every time I think of that stage, I think of Mallrats. Just to give a quick background on Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Zombies Ate My Neighbors was originally developed by LucasArts, and it was published by Konami. The music for this game was composed by Joseph Joe McDermott for the SNES port, while the Fat Man, that's what he goes by, George Sanger, I guess, or Sanger, according to Moby Games, produced the music for the Sega Genesis. I always love the quirky music in this game, by the way. I mean, there's just something about the music that's very funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The monsters in the game are based on classic horror films released from the 1950s, and some of the more modern films like Friday the 13th, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the game, believe it or not, had some censorship issues. The game's theme was subject to a lot of censorship, as a matter of fact. It was oh, yeah, like in certain countries, like the UK and Ireland, Italy, France, Spain, and a few others, they actually just named the game Zombies instead of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, because it was the title was too graphic for, I guess, those countries, according to the censorship policies. So, also, I think in a couple of editions of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, anytime there was blood, it was replaced with, instead, a purple ooze. So, I guess, so that way it's not showing blood in the games. And it makes me wonder, what they did with games like Splatterhouse,
Oh my god.
I know,
yeah.
I mean, if they're going to censor Zombies Ate My Neighbors that strictly, what was it like for Splatterhouse and Mortal Kombat and games like that? I don't even think you could do that. You'd punch them and, they just faint and nothing happens. Yeah. Finish him. And then the guy just, just lays the guy down.
Here you go, take a nap.
Yeah,
okay.
go to sleep. So anyways, that's a little background on the game. And Landon, would you tell us about the gameplay, my man?
Sure. Gameplay on this takes place kind of in an overhead style of fashion, where you're looking down on your character. It kind of reminds me of a maze game, and that's essentially what it is you're just in these mazes with these monsters, and the point is to try to rescue your neighbors before the monsters get them. Once you rescue all your neighbors, you get to go on to the next level. Now, what happens if a monster gets your neighbor, you say? Well, the monsters can kill every neighbor except for one. If you rescue one neighbor, you get to go on to the next level. But if they kill that neighbor or you run out of health, you lose a life. And if they kill that neighbor, it's like, I can't remember if it's game over or you just lose a life. I think it's game over because you failed in your duties as a good neighbor to save people.
Yeah, I think actually too. And once it's game over, I think you can't save in this game, can you?
No, there's no saves and there's no continues. There's a password system.
Oh, that's
like
right.
every 5 levels, you get a new password. So say you make it to level 6 and die, well, you can just start back over at level 5 with the new password. The first level of this game is just kind of a really good introduction level because the zombies are kind of slow and there's a lot of power-ups just kind of scattered throughout the map. And there's I know of at least 2 neighbors that the zombies can't get. The guy in the pool and the girl on the trampoline. They can't get those guys. But basically you just go around, you collect your items, rescue your neighbors, go on to the next. The second level, kind of the same deal, but it's a little bit more advanced. You've got a few more little mazes to go through. But it's essentially the same level. Third level's when it starts getting really, really exciting, and it's the mall level. The little killer babies and
that kid's by that escalator again.
Oh, I know. You want the kids by that escalator in this. They're evil. They throw hatchets at people. But that's another one of the levels. You can kind of break the levels up into outdoor, indoor, and then really crazy. I know there's one that takes place inside of a pyramid, and there's mummies chasing after you.
Oh wow, I've never even played that one.
Yeah, that one's rough, dude. Those mummies just come out of nowhere. They can they're kind of like the zombies. They come up out of the ground. They're slower than the zombies, but they take a lot more hits to take down because they're so much bigger. But there's a pyramid. There's a castle stage, which is really tough. The castle stages are just big, huge mazes that have multiple pathways in it, and sometimes the pathway can bring you back to where you started and you don't want to go there. And the furthest I've ever made it in that game is, I think it's called the Toddler of Death or something, and it's just a huge baby. And your goal is to get to one neighbor that's inside of a building, and the baby's just guarding it, running around, and it's this 80-foot tall baby. And it's super duper fast. You're oh my gosh, how can a baby this big be so fast? No, it can run you down.
Yeah, he works out.
I hate that level, and I hate that stupid baby because you can't kill it.
What are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to outrun it to certain little safe spots in the map to where he can't get you, get a key, then run back across the map to the locked house where the neighbor's inside.
But he's so fast.
I mean, that kid's it's like he's on steroids or something. He's so quick. The game has 48 levels, and you have all your classic monsters like Rob said. You've got zombies, you've got giant monsters like giant ants and giant babies, Martians, pod people that assume your identity and you have to kill them, evil mushrooms, I guess you could call it, because when you step on them they hurt you. The killer babies, I don't know if they're supposed to be dolls or if they're just supposed to be little killer babies. I think they're supposed to be dolls because they jump out of packages at you when you're walking in the store.
Is that what they were?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's been so long. I kind of have a hazy premonition of that.
I was playing it the other day, and I was trying to read what the box said. This little babies jump out of, and it says "Baby Love," and it just jumps out at you.
Nice.
Later on in the game, like I said, there's mummies, werewolves, vampires, Martians, and my favorite enemy in this game, the chainsaw guy.
Me too.
That's just what they call him, chainsaw guy.
Is he the one that, you can actually hear the chainsaw coming and stuff?
Yeah, when he gets close, you hear the chainsaw, going...
Yeah. Oh, I used to hate that, too, because I wouldn't even know he was around that I'd hear that sound, oh gosh, I'm out of here.
And he was hard to take down, too.
Yeah, he was.
He was supposedly a mini-boss or something.
And you about needed him, too, to just kind of cut through those bushes so you could get through a lot of times.
Yeah, if you didn't have the bazooka... the bazooka could cut a path through there, but you didn't want to waste all your ammo just cutting a path through the hedge maze.
Right.
And I think that's one of the coolest levels in the game. It's called the Hedge Maze of Doom. You're just in this huge hedge maze with a guy who has a chainsaw chasing you down trying to get you.
Oh man, that's like one of those haunted cornfield rides or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're chasing you in the cornfields.
The chainsaw maze is fun, especially... and this kind of leads into the next part of the discussion of the weapons of the game. You've got your squirt gun that you start out with. You find a fire extinguisher that can freeze zombies in place. Soda cans, I like the soda can. That was pretty cool. It's kind of like a grenade. You throw it and the soda can blows up and it kills the monsters.
By the way, these must be the weakest monsters in the world.
Yeah, serious. I know the little like babies and the dolls are like weak to the soda can bomb. And that's another thing. Like if you know classic monster movies, you'll know the monster's weaknesses. Like, for example, I know the werewolf that you fight later on in the game. You can take them down with the other weapons, but you can kill them in one move with silverware because werewolves are weak.
Oh, that's clever.
There's another weapon in the game. It's the crucifix. When you get near a vampire with the crucifix, instead of coming at you, he runs away.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And if you hit him, if you hit him with the crucifix, it's a one-shot kill with that. You don't have to fight him forever.
Oh, that's awesome.
So a lot of the weapons in that game are kind of based off of horror movie ways that they kill the monster in the end.
Right.
But I always thought that was so cool that the silverware, you throw like a fork and a knife at a werewolf and it kills them.
If they had just tried that in the film, so many people could have survived.
But the boss battles are usually like really big deals in this game. You've got the giant baby, you've got the chainsaw guy in the hedge maze. You fight a big, huge spider close to the end of the game, and then the last level of the game. And I didn't make it this far. I actually saw it on YouTube just to do a little bit of research for this. You fight the guy who started the zombie invasion. His name is Dr. Tongue.
Dr. Tongue?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And, you walk into the lab and he's sitting there and he sees you and he drinks a potion that turns him into a huge spider. So you take out the big spider and you're like, oh yeah, I beat Dr. Tongue. No, he comes back as a giant floating head that shoots tongues at you.
That's a little tongue-in-cheek. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
Be here all day, folks.
Yeah.
Delicious. But yeah, it's just such a cool game, and like some of the items that help you, like the inflatable clown punching bags, are some of the best things in the game.
Oh, are those the ones that make that funny laugh?
They go ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah.
But enemies just like absolutely flock to those things and like beat the snot out of them.
They're like, ooh.
Like, they leave you alone. They're like, ooh, a clown. But you get that. There's kind of an invincibility potion, and you drink it. And like your little guy kind of looks around, and then he turns into this big, huge, like purple monster. And when you're the purple monster, you can kill anything basically besides bosses in one punch. And you can punch your way through walls and through like the hedge maze. Like I like saving the potion up for the hedge maze.
That's a good idea.
And punching a hole through the hedges. And when the chainsaw dude comes up, dude, you can lay him out. Like you can hit him and he falls back and he can't get up.
Oh, that's awesome. So you can kill the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy with one punch.
Yeah, you can like judo punch him and take him out.
Yeah. And then poke him in the eyes afterwards.
But overall, it's just kind of your basic, I'm in a maze, I have all these cool enemies, I have to rescue these people, and then I can leave type game.
Yeah, and all the while, like you said, there's a lot of little subtle things that, make the game great. The music, the little monster movie trivia clues almost, and how to defeat them. I don't know, it's just...
names. I love the level names.
Oh, those are great. I forgot about a lot of those.
Like, I know there's the Hedge Maze of Doom, and then when you make it to the football field where the Martians are invading, the name of that level is called Mars Needs Cheerleaders.
Oh, sure. The football teams have them. That's awesome. So, okay, man, let me ask you this. If you could give Zombies Ate My Neighbors a score from 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 9.
Ah, nice.
It's perfect. It's a little difficult. It's difficult in a fun way, but it's one of those where it can frustrate you.
Yeah, it's kind of nice that it does have a password system, but it would have been a lot nicer if you could just simply save, the game. But yeah, excellent game. It's one of those games where when you play it, you're like, oh, this is fun, but then, I don't know, it just grows on you. Because when I first played this game, it was fun, but I didn't really start loving it until I went back years later and played it again. I said, wow, it's like I was old enough to appreciate its sense of humor, I guess, and just the way it kind of pays homage to a lot of those old classic monster movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so excellent. So Zombies Ate My Neighbors gets a 9 out of 10. Awesome review. All right, let's see what the fans had to say. It looks like we didn't get a million responses to this, but, we showed a picture of that giant baby, and I think that brought up some memories and some
everybody
people.
hates that baby, I know.
So here's just, we basically just asked the fans if they had any experiences with it or if they just want to say anything about the game, and we got a few responses for it, and it looks like Nick Anelio, I guess. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong there, Nick. He says, code BKYZ. I'll never forget this code.
I remember that code, but I don't remember where it takes you.
Yeah, I wonder if that takes you to the end, man. I need to try it.
You should do it.
Yeah, I want to see the tongue guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Jeremy Hicks. Oh, yeah. Now, there was a game. I liked the book. It was hilarious. I'm assuming he's talking about the instruction book. Well, I've never seen that.
Me neither.
My favorite monster I loved but hated to fight was that stupid giant baby. Man, they were annoying. Yeah, buddy.
I think you could concur with that.
I can. I was going to say, I support you wholeheartedly. I hate giant baby.
Our buddy Josh Witt, and by the way, Josh, we appreciate all the kind words, the feedback, man, that you've given us, not only on the Retro Junkies site, but on our Turtle Soup site. Thanks a lot, man. He's been awesome. He says, I always like the purple tentacles in this game, just because I love Day of the Tentacles and Maniac Mansion. Oh, Maniac Mansion is one I've never played, but I've always wanted to play so bad.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play that one too. I've watched playthroughs of it, but I've never played it myself.
Yeah, I got to. I mean, it's definitely our style of game,
Oh yeah, I've heard that Day of the Tentacles is pretty good. That it's really funny.
Yeah, I never.
It's kind of like the sequel to Maniac Mansion.
Oh, sweet. We got to play both, man.
Heck yeah, and I know the little tentacle guys in that game look like the tentacle from Day of the Tentacle and Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Sweet. We ought to have a Maniac Marathon, huh?
Yeah.
We should do it.
Do it right now.
Oh, all right, man. Forget the rest of this show.
No. Okay. We won't do that.
No.
Just yet. Bill Honchell. I love it and still own it. The sequel wasn't so good. He didn't like the sequel, and that was Ghoul Patrol.
Yeah. I hear I've never played it, but I hear it's nowhere near as good.
That's what a lot of people say. Now, some people like Ghoul Patrol. But I don't know. I've never played it, so I can't really form an opinion on it.
Yeah, me neither.
Let's see. Our buddy John Wedgeworth. John says, much to my shame and that's chagrin without the grin part, I've never played either version of Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So here are my most meaningful, significant, and cherished memories of Zombies Ate My Neighbors. He says, Rob and Landon, think Christmas '89 caliber goodness. Rick, here we go. He says, I hope you all found it as magical as I did. I really need to get my filthy clutches on this game. Shazam!
Oh man, John, you're missing out, man.
It's a good one. It really is.
Yeah, it's ridiculously hard, man, but it's fun. Let's see. J. Murphy, our friend from Murphy's Law, he says, I love this game and have it on my shelf as I type this. Every now and then, me and a buddy will get down. I definitely have played with my friends who are item hogs, and that sucks. Usually we divvy up the items. I love the purple potion. It's definitely my favorite item. There are a few levels where it's easier to let the monsters eat the survivors and just grab an exit. Oh man, what kind of hero are you?
Well, sorry. I gotta get out of here. You're gonna die.
Yeah. He throws like one of the neighbors in front of him so he can get out.
Let's see. Gavin Dixon. Wow. Talk about the memories.
I guess he must add positive memories too.
Yeah.
You're breaking up, man. Can you hear me? Landon. Dang, we were so close to finishing this podcast. Crap. Well, I guess I'll finish it up. So anyways, Zombies Ate My Neighbors had a few sequels and spin-offs too, such as Ghoul Patrol that was released for the Super Nintendo in 1994. But for some reason, fans didn't accept this game with the same affection as the original. Like I said, I told Landon this, I'd never played this before, but maybe Landon did. Man, I wish he was here right now. Usually carries this show. Hello? A zombie! Not again! Oh man, I'm getting out of here. Dang it, where are all my crappy games? Oh, Deadly Towers. Here, take this! Ow! Yeah, that game hurt me too, man. Okay, there's gotta be something in here I could find. Oh, a light gun! Hey, hold still. I'm gonna put this against your head. Don't tell Landon I'm cheating. Okay. This doesn't work. Alright, let's see what else I can find in here. Aha! Power glove! I I'm sorry to ruin your day, Mr. Zombie, but you just messed with a punk with power. Take this! Oh, it doesn't work! Well, it was a good run.
Rob, get down! Hey, zombie. Guess who prepared for the zombie apocalypse? This guy, right here. Now have a drink on me.
Oh, man. Dude, you saved me. I owe you one. Hey, give me a hand, will you?
Sweet. I just got 200 points for saving you and the dude in the pool.
Well, since you're here, let's finish up this podcast. But first, to show you my gratitude for saving my life, I want to sing you an out-of-tune, poorly written song in the tune of Aerosmith's Janie's Got a Gun.
Sweet.
Landon's got a gun. Super soaker gun. The whole world's overrun. But to him, it's way more fun. What did Landino do? He shot that zombie in two. He ran from giant mutant babies to stab werewolves with his silverware. When the dolls came alive, Landon kicked them up and down the stairs. Run away from the pain. Run away's insane. Landon's got a gun, super soaker gun. The whole world's overrun, but to him it's all good fun. Oh, man, well... Landon, thanks again for saving my life, man. I really appreciate that.
No problem. I stocked up on super soakers when I found out, the zombie apocalypse could be a real thing.
Good idea. Good idea. Did you ever have the one with the backpack?
Dude, I always wanted the one with the backpack.
Me too, man. Me too.
All I had was the Super Soaker 1000, the big blue one that had like the little reservoir in the back of it.
Oh, yeah? Well, I had the 2000.
Why you gotta one-up me, Rob?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so stay tuned for our next episode, dedicated to Skate or Die for the NES. That's the one with Lester, isn't it?
That's the one with Lester.
Sweet. What is it?
I don't think it's the one where the title screen says "Skate or Die." Die, 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 die.
That's the greatest title screen ever.
I know, and I've never had a game say "Die, die, 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 die" to me before. It's like, I like you too, game.
All right, so thank you for listening, and you can check us out. Send us an email at theretrojunkies@theretrojunkies.com, or send us a message on Facebook at facebook.com/retrogamingjunkies. Be sure to check out retrogamingtimes.com. Our May issue is out, and it was a fun one to be part of. Check out our Nerd Network at facebook.com/nerdstalkradio, all one word. And check out our buddies at NES Podcast at facebook.com/NES Podcast. And lastly, check out our friend Jeff on Old School Games on Facebook at facebook.com/oldschoolgamesrus. So, on behalf of Landon and myself, we wish you a good day, a good week, probably a good month before we talk to you again.
Yeah.
And good gaming.
Get ready for them zombies. They're coming.
Yeah, get that squirt gun ready. Bye, everyone. Hello? A zombie! Not again!
Ray.
Oh, man. I'm getting out of here. Oh, dang it! Where are all my crappy games? Oh, wait! Deadly Towers, take this!
Ow.
I'm sorry. I wish... Can we start over?
Yeah, let's start over.
I'm sorry. Oh, that was good.
Rob, get down! Wow, I sounded angry and German.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Okay, we definitely got to put that one in the show. All right,
Okay.
you're the zombie.